Hey everybody, it's JJ Conway. I want to welcome you to our party today, our doll giveaway party today. Uh, uh, Let me just say to start off, to get your free Barbie, make sure that you go text the word Barbie to 254-274-3055. You can request as many Barbies as you have baby girls to give them to. The shipping is free. Okay, but you will have to register in order to get the free Barbie. All right, so we're going to need your address to send them, right? All right, so the shipping is free, but if you want to help us out, you can help us out. All right, and so what we're going to do today, if you want a particular doll, then I want to encourage you to put the name of the doll. Okay, let me show you them real quick. I should talk first and then show you, but you know what? I know a lot of y'all came for the dolls. Let me show you the dolls. You know what? They're gonna have to bring me the dolls in a second. Let me just talk first. All right, y'all hang with me here. We had to change our whole schedule, so I'm a little bit off kilter here, but we're gonna have a good time today. All right. So one thing I will say is, unfortunately, my Katherine Johnson dolls from the infamous Hidden Figures, technical genius, who was very much set aside due to the fact of her color and gender, and all her story just coming out. My dolls for her have not arrived yet. They are probably not going to be here by Christmas. And so rather than even make a promise I'm not sure that I can fulfill, we going to just hold her doll till next time. But we have some fantastic donations of dolls that we're giving away today. We're giving away, we've got a lot of these princess dolls. All right. See if you can see her there. We've got this princess doll. We've got this fairy doll. Isn't she beautiful? Right? Look at her. All right. We've got the birthday doll. And these are the names. If you see the names that I've written on them, these are the names. Let's get the glare off there. These are the names that you will put in your text when you text Barbie to 254-274-3055. And then we've got Skipper, who is my personal favorite. Right? And then we've got the Fashionista Barbie. This is one of the Fashionista line, okay? And she's got her cactus attire for Southwest jurisdiction, baby. All right. Okay, so there's that again. Text to get your doll is absolutely no charge. But if you do want to help cover the cost of postage, I will absolutely take your money, y'all. You can PayPal or Cash App the Queen of Cash Flow, and that money will go towards this program and shipping these dolls out to these girls, okay? Okay, so for those of you who've been with me and doing this doll delivery for the last couple of years, you'll notice that we've changed a couple of things overnight, especially with this virtual environment. This is the first time we've done this virtually, okay? And so because we're doing this virtually, and because a lot of you who are on actually don't know me, like in the past, it's always been people that have known me and we've worked together in the past. Since a lot of you don't know me, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to tell you a little bit about myself, okay? Which is always a little bit uncomfortable for some people. But I'm really thankful for the work that the Lord has done in my life. And I learned a couple years ago that to hide the gifts that God has given us is absolutely one of the highest offenses that we can commit. In fact, let me say that again, and let me put the screen on me. See, I was always taught that we should be very humble, and I still believe we should be humble. And I've always taught we should not make other people uncomfortable. And even though I naturally make other people uncomfortable, I try real hard to make people more comfortable, right? And I've always heard that we should downplay our talents and our abilities. But a couple years ago, someone taught me, and I wish I could know exactly who it was because I've heard it from so many other mentors since then, that for us to deny the gifts that God has given us, and for us to deny the talents with which He has gifted us, is an offense to Him who has called us to do great work. Now, this is a secular event. I'm not going to get to preaching on you all today. All right. I promise that. But somebody needs to know that you, like I did for many years, you've been playing small and you have been cowering and hiding your gifts and letting them waste away. And we are not called to waste away our gifts. We are called to use them to the good. All right. And so I'm encouraging you today to stop playing small, just like I had to learn to stop playing small. All right. So let me go ahead and tell you a little bit about myself. My name is JJ Conway. I was the first African American to hold the position of physicist in the Air Force. I was also a finalist for Miss Veteran America. I'm an international speaker, best-selling author, and I am a business and financial podcaster who is rearing a one day will be a YouTube star, Philly Bob PK. My clients know me as that business and financial coach who will challenge their limiting beliefs so that they can move forward in success. I've been mentored by the best, and I'm always on a path of self-growth. And even though my basic career in the Air Force was physics for 23 years, I have partnered with the world's top coaching team, the John Maxwell team, to bring you empowering content. So no matter what your industry or your nonprofit calling might be, I know that your next best steps are within you, and I can help you uncover them. It is time you had somebody that was on your side. And so I want you to know that I'm here to help you up-level your life. All right. So that's a little bit about me and why who I am, even though some of you are like, well, is she a physicist or is she a financial planner? There's both, and there's a story about it, but that story has nothing to do with our little babies today. So we'll save that for another day. All right. So let me tell you some more about why I'm so passionate about empowering brown girls. Okay. And before I get into that, make sure you sign up for your free Barbie doll, y'all. Make sure you text 254-274-3055 with the word Barbie. And if you want a specific doll, you can see their names up there. We got Fairy, Skipper, Princess, Fashionista, and Birthday. For those of you joining us late, we don't have the Katherine Johnson dolls. Unfortunately, she did not arrive in time, and I have already told everybody I'm not even going to pretend that I can give any away today, because if they don't come by Christmas, I don't want to make a promise I can't honor. Okay. We did have a question about being able to participate from another country. Unfortunately, I can only ship to U.S. addresses. But Sarah, I want to thank you so much for asking the question, because I totally forgot about our international partners. Now, international partners that have access to PayPal and Cash App, you can absolutely help me by helping donate towards shipping. But let me tell you what I'm going to do for you, because until Sarah asked the question, I totally forgot to plan for our international partners. So here's what I'm going to do for you. If you will text me at 254-274-3055 and put book, and then put the name of the class that I have on my website that you would like for free, I will give you that for free. Okay. I will do that for my international partners, because that's something I can do. I can give you a class, but I'm not trying to pay no international shipping with other people's donations during time of COVID. I'm sure you understand where I'm coming from. Thank you so much for asking the question. All right. So why am I so passionate about empowering brown girls? Well, I want you to take another look at my mentor slide, and I think that will help you understand. Look at what you don't see on this page, right? There are no scientists of color. In fact, there is only one scientist in the whole bunch, and he is a biologist named Dr. Bruce Lipton. Now, he's doing great research with spirituality and biology, but he's Jewish. And while Jewish hasn't always been considered white, right? It's not exactly brown, okay? So I'm going to do something real quick. I'm going to put his book up there. You can get the biology of belief. You can get the biology of belief, his book. But look at this. Look at these people. Now there are people of color on this list, right? There are people of color on this list, and I absolutely seek out excellence wherever I find it. Okay. Now I've done posted his link in the chat for you. Okay. But here's the thing. I've always sought mentorship from people at the top of their game, and you see many people here at the top of the game. You see Dr. Deborah Tillman, you see Ivan Meisner, you see Judge Penny, you see the original Tuskegee Airmen. All right, I used to plan their conferences to come talk at your university. Right, I've always sought mentorship from people at the top of their game, but those people usually didn't look like me, and if they did look like me, they weren't physicists. All right. So it wasn't until 2007 that I actually saw other physicists who looked like me. It was my very first speaking engagement in 2007. I spoke to the combined meeting of the National Society of Black Physicists and the National Society of Hispanic Physicists. Y'all, I still get emotional when I think about looking as I sat at this podium after the banquet on a panel of other women who looked like me. And I began to look out over the sea of 500 physicists who looked like me. Y'all, if you have never been in a situation where you have 100 people in the room and none of them look like you, or 200 people in the room, like I would go to some of these technical and our national labs events, nobody ever looked like me. Once in a long time, in 23 years, did somebody look like me. But for me back then in 2007, to look out on that audience and see this group of over 500 people who are all associated with physics, who look like me, it was amazing. And that's even more poignant because I'm the girl who, when I tried to declare physics as my major, I was told at the Air Force Academy, y'all, I went to a good school now. You know, I didn't go to some muckety-muck backwoods whites only school. I went to a good school that had been admitting African Americans since 1963. But when I went to declare my major, they told me I couldn't because blacks can't do physics. And I did it anyway. I declared my major. I graduated as the president of the Physics and Astronomy Club, and I did physics for 23 years in the Air Force, retiring at the rank of lieutenant colonel, which is why I have the class Blacks Can Do Physics, How to Succeed When They Say You Can't. And now in today's world, there are many initiatives to increase representation, especially amongst brown girls in STEM. So let me show you real quick a screenshot of the National Society of Black Physicists page and the National Society of Hispanic Physicists page. Look at these people, y'all. And even more importantly for me as a woman of color, look at all the women you see in these pictures. Y'all, look at all the women you see. You didn't see that when I was a little girl. You didn't see so many women of color who were doing things in the sciences. You didn't see a whole lot of women, period, doing anything in the sciences. And so that's why I'm so passionate. That's why I'm so passionate. That's why I'm so passionate about empowering brown girls of every shade. All right. I want you to know that you can succeed. I want you to know that you can be anything that you want to be. You don't have to fall into society's dictates. You don't have to fall into the role that somebody else set before you. You don't have to fall into the statistical traps of what society thinks you should be or shouldn't be. All of us have been gifted a talent and an opportunity to change our lives, change our families' lives, change our communities, and maybe even change the world. And far too long, our society has looked down on women, especially women of color. And for those of you who don't think we still have a problem in this society with the perception of women of color, let me tell you something that happened the other day. This isn't part of my script, but you know what? I think it'll help illustrate the point, because I tell these stories about racist activities that have happened to me. And I tell these stories about the differences in how I've been treated versus how my white husband gets treated, and how I've been treated versus how I get treated when he shows up. Like, it's a totally different landscape, right? You know, somebody one time when I was struggling with real estate, I was struggling to find a rental place for our church, Kingstown Family Life Center. We were in the Pierre Bourget Mall for almost 4 years, right? We closed down because of COVID, and we're transitioning to Texas. But I was in that mall for 4 years. That mall was the only place that would rent to me. Now, there were other places that would rent to me. They would rent to me, but they would rent to me at 3 times the amount that they were quoting me when they thought I was a white woman over the phone. They also had this interesting thing of when I would go wait for the properties, and then I would call the number, ask if it's available. Oh, yeah, it's available. I'll be right there. Just wait for me about 15, 20 minutes. And I would wait, and I would get on Facebook Live. Hey, y'all, pray for me to see if this is our building. And then the owner would show up and be like, oh, I'm sorry, it's rented out. And my phone voice isn't quite as ethnic as my Facebook Live voice, which isn't even that ethnic, you know. And so it took me a couple times to figure out what was going on. And that's when somebody told me, they're like, you got this husband, you need to put your white foot forward. And I'm not trying to be offensive to you today, but in the society I was living in at that time, that is exactly what I had to do, because our culture is still biased against women of color. And you'll see that also when you'll also see that even more reflected when it comes to STEM. Okay, so let me see. We've got a few new comments here. I would love for some of you to come on and tell me a little bit about your experiences with issues in being a person of color in STEM. I don't want to dominate the whole thing. Now, originally I had a whole nother script prepared. And so I was going to talk for the whole half hour, right? And we had to change it last night. But one story I want to tell you, just to kind of illustrate the subtle biases that people experience, even in today's world. I went to go get a new cell phone the other day. And y'all know I'm cheap because I'm a financial planner. Most financial planners are cheap, right? And because we believe, and we don't like debt because interest is a penalty. And the more interest we pay from them, that's stealing money out of my baby's future. And so, you know, I am kind of cheap, I'll admit it. But when it comes to getting my business done and getting stuff, making stuff happen, I need quality tools in my life. I don't need the cheapest cheap cell phone or the cheapest cheap clothes or this or that. I need something that's going to run with me, hang with me, and stand the test of time, right? And so I go into the cell phone and I keep asking the guy to tell me, well, what's the best phone for this? What's the best phone for that? I do podcasts, I do YouTube, I do this, I do that. What's the best phone? And he kept trying to show me the cheapest phone. And it went around and around. Okay, well, tell me why this phone, you know, tell me what the difference is between these phones and these phones and these phones. You've got this one's $1,000 and this one's $500. And we kept going around and he kept pushing me to the cheapy phone. And finally I stopped him. I said, how long have you been in sales? You said you just started working here, but how long have you been in sales? Y'all, he says 3 years. And I said, in 3 years of sales, you haven't learned to stop qualifying the client and assuming you know what they can pay and what they can't pay. And he looked at me and he was like, well, I just assumed that you were going to want the cheapest phone. And I'm like, but I'm not asking you about the cheapest phone. I'm asking you about the best value. I came to get the best value. Are you going to sell me a phone or aren't you? Because he looked at me funny when I said that. And I was like, I came to buy a phone, but I came to get what I need to get. And you're not giving me assurance that you want to sell me what I need to get. He was giving me, what he was doing was he was looking at me and assuming he had put me in a bucket as to what I could afford and what I wanted. And that may work for somebody else, but people, and now if any of y'all are in sales, this is all about doll giveaway, y'all. You see the banner at the bottom. If you want your free doll, you go ahead and text your free doll, okay? I'm trying to explain why we still need to help girls feel better about themselves, right? Because when we walk into the room, people assume that we cannot afford something. And when we walk into the technical boardroom, people assume that we are not serious, that we are the help, that we're there to drive the slides. They don't assume that we bring the value that we bring, and they treat us accordingly. And that young man probably had no clue what he was doing, but people do that kind of cultural bias, segregation, split second in their mind all the time. And it's time out for us to just sit by and act like it's not happening. Now, let me tell you, this was not part of what I was supposed to say today, but we're already getting the orders come in. So if you know you want that Barbie doll, you better text that quick because I've only got 40. Okay. Let me show you what we've got. And I'm going to speak to the parents real quick. All right. We got fashionista. All right. We got birthday. All right. We've got fairy. And we've got princess. All right. All right. Those are our dolls. So text Barbie plus the name of the doll you want to 254-274-3055. And we will get that shipped to you at no charge. Now, I want to say something to the mamas out there. Okay. Normally when we do these in person, I bring the kids and I have the mamas sit on the sideline and they are not allowed to speak. And I've been, I got this, I forgot her name. She's in Houston now. She used to do these doll parties in Shreveport, but she would give all the mamas, all the kids a wand, a little star on it. And whenever the mamas started talking, she would have the kids shush them. Okay. Because this isn't for the parents. It's for the kids. All right. But for the kids' sake, I want to have a quick word with the moms out there. Okay. Because we're talking about empowering brown dolls in STEM. Okay. We are talking about empowering our little girls that they can be, have, and do anything they want, right? That's what this is all about. And I have a lot of classes that can help you help them. But what I want to talk to you about today is we have got to stop accepting the status quo. And I'm going to tell you, it's real easy to accept the status quo because you work so hard to get where you are. You're not trying to rock the boat and ruin it. And the establishment is very easily designed to ruin it. And I did not understand this until towards the end of my Air Force career. And then my eyes got opened in a big way. I used to always assume if you just worked hard and you did everything you needed to do, then everything would work out. And if you were innocent, then people could accuse you and it didn't matter. Well, many of y'all who are mothers of black boys in cities that profile black boys, you know that's not true at all. Okay. And so when it comes to our baby girls, and I don't have any girls of my own, so I really need the moms out there to rear up strong, confident baby girls for my boys' sake, right? I do want some grandbabies one day, not anytime soon, but I do want some grandbabies one day. But we have to stop accepting the status quo, and we have to stop being afraid to rock the boat when it comes to the future of our children. I remember when I was trying to get my son into one of the best preschools that they had in Montgomery, Alabama, where we were living at the time. You know how it is as a parent. If you're an up and coming parent with a little, you're upper middle class or you're middle class, or you've finally gotten out of poverty and you want to make something happen for your children, you know the drill. You get them into a good preschool so they can go to a good school, and they can go to a good high school. They can go to a good college, right? Well, I was trying to get my son into the best the best preschool, and they were fighting me tooth and nail about him not being qualified. Well, how is he not qualified? You haven't even tested him yet. And I was really going to pitch a fit, right? Because that's the kind of mom I am, right? And one day, one of the ladies from our daycare center pulled me aside. She actually was a member of my church. And so the other moms and the other daycare ladies had asked her to pull me aside. Now, for those of you who don't know how the Air Force works, Air University is a very short duration assignment. Whether you're teaching or whether you are there as a student, you are not in the Montgomery, Alabama area for long. You're there for a year, maybe 2 years, sometimes 3. At the most, and then you move on. And so what this mom told me is, we need you to stop fighting this issue. And I was like, what do you mean stop fighting this issue? Somebody's got to fight this issue. They get government funding. They can't keep my child out of their school. And it's the best school with the highest ratings. And she said, look, if you keep forcing this issue, we as a group of moms are very confident that you are going to make them accept your son. But what's going to happen is next year you're going to leave, and our entire community is going to have to deal with the backlash of some Air Force major who was just here for a year or two, who forced this school, which I'm purposely not naming out of respect for the people in that community, forced this school to accept your little black boy. And if you're not going to be in the community to help us fight this battle that's going to come because of all the anger that's going to come for you forcing this issue, then you shouldn't stir up the nest. And I understood where she came from, and I backed down because she was right. I wasn't going to stay there to fight that battle. And I know I got some people on my Facebook that love Montgomery, and that's their home, and they love it, and they're proud of their city. But I tell you what, Montgomery had no love for me. And so I got out of there as soon as I could. Some people say out of the pan out of the fire into the frying pan, because then I moved to Shreveport, right? But I got out of there. But you know, when I was stationed in Virginia, the ladies still didn't want to address racism. We had a hair shop that was being racist, even though 90% of their customers were African American, and they were on Fort Belvoir. And again, it was like, don't you rock the boat. We don't want to lose our hair shop. It is time for us as women to band together, to have our own hair shops, to have our own educational opportunities, to have our own quality pre-K and other things that we feel we are not being treated well with. Okay, so that our little girls who now have the first step of being able to play with all this assortment of dolls that look like them. Okay, I didn't have such an assortment of dolls. You might have had one or two little black dolls when I was a kid, and they certainly didn't have this kind of hair. This is my favorite doll right here, y'all. The Skipper. I might keep her. But our little girls, there's progress. The fact that these dolls are even in the stores is progress. Okay, it's progress. But the fact that we as a culture, because these things that I've told you, they didn't happen that long ago. The fact that these things are still happening today mean that we as a culture have to band together, and we have to uplift our girls. And our girls aren't going to be uplifted just by Barbie dolls if they see that their moms are going to sit quietly and meekly and allow the rest of society to run all over them. Wow, you know, I probably just offended half the people watching, but it needs to be said. If you feel that a culture is not accepting of you and they are not giving you the opportunities that you need, then you have to do like other cultures in the United States do, and you have to create your own opportunities. All right, we're going to get off that, and we're going to talk about being a black girl in STEM. Actually, you know what? I think we may be almost out of dolls. Let me check the registrations here. Just give me a second. Give me a second, and I'll put that slide back up for you guys to get your dolls while I check that. I think we're almost out of dolls. Checking. Okay. All right. No, we still have 4 more left. Okay. So come on and get your registration in. Now, when you send that text, it's going to ask you to register yourself. I need you to give me your address. Otherwise, I won't be able to ship the dolls. And then what I'll do is after it's over, I'll make sure we've got the name straight, the number of dolls, and all of that stuff, and we will ship you your dolls. All right, we are almost out of dolls, so I'm almost out of time. If anybody else has a comment or wants to jump into the conversation, go ahead and join me. Otherwise, I think we're going to wrap this one up, y'all. I want to thank you for being here as part of our special Brown Dolls in STEM doll delivery. Thank you so much for being a part of this movement and a part of this effort. I'm JJ Conway. Thank you. Y'all take care and be blessed.